Hey folks, welcome to HUBR Beer Review. Tonight we have a special treat. We're going to go visit probably one of my favorite breweries of all time. I've only been there once, but I got some beer to share with the guys. We're going to have Haze from Treehouse Brewing Company out of Charlton, Massachusetts. Stick around.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hopped Up Beer Review, the show where we give your unprofessional, somewhat biased opinion about the beer that we are drinking and reviewing. Appreciate you checking out this video. Welcome back to all of you who have watched the video before. We appreciate you coming back and checking out another one. I've got Andy in the attic. I've got Jay. I am Ben. What are we drinking today?
We're going to have the Haze from Treehouse Brewing Company. I'm excited to share this with you guys.
We are excited to have it. I'm speaking for Andy on that one too.
I made a special trip just to get these beers.
Yeah, I was about to say this beer was not easily acquired, and we'll go over why.
So Jay, have you had this one yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I was trying to remember. I don't know if I had this on draft. Because when you're there, we can get into some details of it, but they have multiple locations, and we've covered some of that in another episode. But, yeah. It's a double IPA. Let's just take
pretty. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
You just have to kind of enjoy it, savor the moment. So this comes in at 8.2. It's a double IPA. It's a, I believe this one's a New England hazy.
Definitely a hazy.
For sure. That's the name Haze. Treehouse, their brewery was founded in a red barn, if I remember correctly. Right, Andy? I know you'll go through some of the history of it.
True that.
But currently their main brewing operation is in Charlton. This beer was procured at their Tewksbury location, which they have converted an old golf course and country club. The clubhouse is a massive tap room, which is really unique. It has a lounge, bar in the back. The pro shop where the golfers take off even has its own tap room. And then they have a complete gift shop where you can go up to an iPad and plug in the beer you want, and it comes up from the basement on a box of whatever you order. Or if you get to go, you go out to the little cart barn and drive right through, and they bring it right out to your car and put it in your trunk.
Can't beat that. All right, Andy, do you have anything to add to that? Because I think Jay's vying for your job today.
I was going to sit back and let Jay do the work, all the heavy lifting.
Yeah. It's one of those bucket list type breweries. We talk about several that we want to go to.
Yeah, I would want to see.
We had the opportunity to go, and like I said, they have several different locations. But Tewksbury is just about 30 minutes north of the Boston airport. And when you go in on, I believe it's the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they put a wristband on you, and you can only get 3 draft beers. I mean, that's it. They're very exclusive. They don't distribute, so it's not one you're going to find it in bars, restaurants, or in the local convenience store. They are that in high demand. And it stays packed. That place, we were there on a Sunday, and there was everybody from families with birthday parties all the way up to senior citizens, after church coming in for their beer. They have other locations. Their Charlton is their other one, about an hour west of Boston. They have a location down on the beach. If you go down about 45 minutes to an hour southeast of the airport, south of Boston, down there on the beach coast. It's a smaller location. And then I think they have 2 other locations, correct, Andy?
We'll get into that. There's 6 total facilities.
Yeah.
This is the most beer Andy's drank before like the 5-minute mark.
Yeah.
On any show we've ever had. So
We're functioning outside of our paradigm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope you're enjoying this, Andy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I
turn
hope
it
too much
over
of
to
that beer
you,
doesn't
Andy.
go to your
Actually allowed me to kind
Enjoy
of
and
identify
savor
what
it.
I'm tasting based on what I've written. Maybe this will help. Go. Haze is a double haze. As you said, it's 8.2%, 90 IBUs. The aroma, as they describe, is of peach, orange, and passion fruit. The taste, citrus, peach, tropical fruit with this helped me, a hop oil finish. And that helps, that hop oil finish kind of explains what I am tasting, experiencing.
I can see that. And this
It
is
felt like a little oily
one
on the
of their
back end.
flagships. So, I mean, this, yeah, one of their mainstays. Julius, I think, is their original
It's their
main
flagship
IPA,
American.
flagship American IPA, and this is their flagship hazy. And I will mention most of their beers, they're very heavy into IPAs, but they have other great beers. I actually experienced one of Ben's favorite, a Ross beer, while I was there at the time. And then they do some unique stouts and things like that. But IPAs are where they mainly concentrate. Most of their beers are very heavy, so you're talking, you know, the lowest you're going to see a lot of their stuff is 6. I mean, there are a few 4 and 5s, but they're few and far between. You're going to see stuff at 7, 8, 9%.
I like how the and goes with the name. Purple Haze. Appropriate. Because Julius, wasn't that kind of like an orange can?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's orange and white.
Yeah. So the Purple Haze. Oh, yes, Ben, with the purple. Isn't it like that in there all the time?
No, it's purple. I can change
Your
the color of the
your
lights.
ode to Prince.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest Prince fan.
What? Ugh, go get out of here.
I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying I'm not like
Musical genius.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I mean, we're not here to talk about
Stop
music,
disagreeing with
but
back to the beer.
I'm just saying it's just not my preference.
Let's
I like
move beyond your
IPA.
hatred of Prince.
I like IPA.
I mean, kick a man while he's dead. You know, don't speak ill of the deceased. Okay. Treehouse Brewing Company, as you just mentioned, Jay, the headquarters, Charlton, Massachusetts. 2011, however, did not start in Charlton, Massachusetts. There's 4 founders, and they all began homebrewing around 2008. They founded officially in 2011 in Brimfield, Massachusetts, and the original farm. And on that, at the edge of the property of the small farm, was a treehouse, which inspired the name. So they moved they had a site, Manson, Massachusetts. Oh, no, excuse me. A zoning dispute in Brimfield caused them to move to Manson. So there's no longer a facility in Brimfield. And then Manson currently is the site of their barrel aging. As you mentioned, you went to the Tewksbury, which was the old golf
There's
course.
one in Deerfield. So
Deerfield, Massachusetts.
So
Woodstock, Connecticut.
Ed, who's been on here before, he grew up right outside of the Deerfield location, and when he goes back home, that's where he visits.
And in Woodstock, Connecticut, they have their farm fermentory, and as you mentioned, the Cape Cod. So
yeah, Cape Cod, right there on the beach. It's a much smaller location, though. I think it requires pre-purchasing of tickets for your beers.
And as the Charlton one didn't, so about 6 years after they founded, they also at Charlton have a coffee roastery, but no beer in the coffee. And I'm done.
All right. So, Hopped Up Beer Review tradition, and just out of a general note of thank you for Jay for bringing these. He's going to go last.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to make Andy go first, but that seems unfair given how much he's talked. So I'll jump in there and go. I think this one is so far it's definitely the haze is all there. You know, on the nose, definitely get the very the tropical in the flavor, but the nose definitely get an orangey just citrusy aroma. I think it's interesting what you said about the hop oil. I don't remember ever hearing about that in any beer that we've done or anything I've ever looked at. Is that something we've ever
I don't
discussed?
recall it that they specifically.
Yeah. So, I would have never had thought about that until you said it, but it is interesting that I don't know if it's just placebo effect or what, but it does feel on the back end just a little bit different. First couple sips of this, I got a lot of those 90 IBUs. I think I drank probably the 90 IBUs on the front end because now it's mellowing out. It was a little bit bitter. Yeah, got them all out of the way. But no, it's mellowed out. I think it's a very tasty beer. Great hazy IPA. It's an 8 for me all day. So I like it. Thanks for grabbing it, Jay. Appreciate you sharing it with us because I know how difficult these are to get. And just excited that you're willing to share a great beer with us that is near impossible to grab. So thank you.
Anytime. You know that.
Andy, what do you think?
I had a similar experience as you, Ben. If I had to rate this on the first sip, I would have been, I don't think I'm going to have it again. But after multiple sips and getting a good inhale and letting it open up and kind of the flavors are starting to come through. But it has got a little bit of that oily, hoppy finish. It improves as you drink it. This is, dare I say, I don't know. It's it's a good beer. I like the Julius better, but this is still a good one that you'd want to go back to. You do get the citrus, you get the kind of the tropical fruit. I gave it an 8.0 as well. It's thick, but it doesn't feel 8.2%. So
good point. Yeah. All right, Jake.
Yes, I agree. This does not feel like 8.2%. I did not get the 90 IBUs on the first sip or two. It's not like, doesn't seem like a 90 IBUs to me. I don't know. You're the judge of the bitterness, Ben.
Right.
In a lot of cases. Definitely the heavy tropical notes are all there. Hazy. I mean, it's got a great froth around it. You can see, and I wouldn't have thought about that hop oil either, Ben. I think that's a very unique thing, and maybe it's something we look into a little further and try and understand. But I can see why this is highly rated and one of the top sellers. I mean, it's got 120,000 reviews on Untapped, and still rated almost 4.5 at that level. So it's a great beer, and I'd love if we could share this on draft, and maybe that's part of it. Is a lot of their stuff is so limited, and you can only get it there, or you can only buy it there and take it home. So most people are drinking them when they're rather fresh. It's another thing to consider, I guess. But for me, I'm gonna upstage you guys. This is a 9.5. It's a fantastic beer.
Wow.
I really like this one. I agree with you. Julius is good, but I've always enjoyed the hazies a little more. And Julius being that American, it's great. But I really like this one. It kind of comes home.
I think what's insane is because the fact that they don't distribute and there have that many reviews of this beer.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely crazy. Given if you spend any time on Untapped, how many reviews you see of beers and check-ins and stuff, even some of the bigger beers, I don't know that we see some of those numbers sometimes. So that's just crazy.
And I think it's because of some of the rage in the craft beer industry. Obviously, we see a lot of these lists, top IPA in the country or winner of this,
Right.
and people will rate their stuff up there every year, year in, year out. And then you have a lot of the rage. I think some of these beer review, not necessarily beer review, but beer distribution boxes. There might be third parties that could come in and do that and distribute those maybe under the radar. And then there's a huge following of these things. I mean, when I went to the Fish concert 2 years ago, there were people in the parking lot. It's a big party, like a lot of things. They have a tremendous following, like Jimmy Buffett and the Grateful Dead and all the different ones. They have parking lot parties. Well, in the parking lot, there were people selling Treehouse, Lawson's, Trillium, and so yeah, they were not cheap, straight out of the cooler in the parking lot, but they're phenomenal beers. And all of those people that watch or listen to those things, they're older, they're our generation or older. They're going to spend that and enjoy a really good beer.
Yep.
And I was amazed, like the concert down here was like July the 11th, and I looked at the born on date, and it was like July the 1st. I'm like, somebody literally drove or took the beer from Massachusetts down to Alabama for a concert 10 days later.
Yeah.
So.
And they're in a high facilities in a highly populated area of the country too.
Sure.
It helps to get all those reviews out.
Yeah. I wonder.
Yeah.
Like I haven't, since sites like Tabor and things like that, where you can buy the beer. I know none of us can actually utilize that site.
Tavor?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
However you say it.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Rogers, he does that, and he usually brings me beer when he can't drink all of it out in Albuquerque.
But I wonder if they ever come up on those sites. Is that something? Because I know the whole point of that site is to buy beer that's hard to get, in a sense.
Yeah, you would imagine that they might work out a deal at some level with Treehouse or these others, but I have no idea. I mean, I just know that the typical response they had is they don't distribute their beer.
Yep.
And maybe if they could get a lucrative deal on something like that, it would make sense. So
maybe. Guess we'll look at that. Break out the fireworks. You can see them from the Treehouse. That is an 8.5 for Haze from Treehouse Brewing Company. That puts it on the HUBR beer review wall.
Jay with the tush push.
Yeah, Jay's. There you go. Jay's pushing it across the line. But definitely a really good beer that we've all enjoyed.
I will interject. I had my score set before either of you had reviewed it, so it wasn't like I tried to
gave it out.
So what you're saying is this could have been the highest beer ever had Andy and I just jumped on board with you, Jay. Yeah,
maybe.
All right. Well, we definitely enjoyed this one. Thanks again, Jay, for grabbing it and getting it to us.
Thank you, Jay.
Appreciate that. Yep. Appreciate you checking out this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, cheers that notification bell. We got a bunch of links down below. Hopped Up Beer Review Discord server. We got some Hopped Up Beer Review merch We've got some other links down there for glassware that we sometimes showcase on this show. Andy, raise your glass. And then we've got some other social media and stuff.
By the purple haze, like right there.
It's seeping
there.
in.
Is there something else in this?
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
purple
see
everywhere.
I don't see it anywhere in your attic view.
You don't see the
just
purple
all
right
in
here?
your mind after drinking.
Here.
If you're still with us, hey, we appreciate that. If you hadn't dropped off, maybe you're seeing purple too. For Andy in the attic and Jay, I'm Ben. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.